Ever look around your workplace, maybe halfway through your second cup of lukewarm coffee, and just think, wow, this whole system is fundamentally broken? Well, in today's explainer, we're diving into an incredible mindset shift from a doctor who looked at the medical status quo, realized it was essentially a giant hamster wheel, and completely rewrote the rules of her industry. We're talking about taking actual control of your professional environment rather than letting it control you. It's a fascinating look at how changing the physical and mental structure of your work can entirely change the value of it. There's this fantastic quote from Dr. April Spencer, a physician who didn't just quit medicine, she quit a broken model. She said that anyone can decide to start a business, but it's the day-to-day management of that business that sets you apart. And in doing what she did, she gave us an absolute masterclass in rethinking work, worth, and wealth. Think about it. It's pretty easy to just hang up an open sign, right? But as she points out, the day-to-day management, the actual design of how you operate, is where the real magic happens. Okay, let's start with part one, the broken model and what happens when you do everything quote-unquote right. There's such a stark contrast between what society calls success and what actually feels successful. Dr. Spencer had done everything we're told to do. She earned the degree, she got the prestigious title, she secured the career most people spend a lifetime chasing. But inside the relentless volume of the hospital system, she was absolutely miserable. Why? Because it was just patient after patient. Quality was constantly being sacrificed at the altar of quantity, and the system simply didn't let her practice medicine the way she knew it should be done. Her vision was entirely different, a compassionate, service-oriented practice where the patient is treated as a real person, not just a metric to be processed. Which brings us to a massive turning point in her story, designing a new container. And this was fundamentally a mindset move. She felt that heavy, dragging burnout so many professionals feel. But, and here's the kicker, she refused to accept this broken model as the only way to operate. The crucial point here is that she didn't just go find a new career. She didn't abandon her calling as a doctor. Actually, instead, she took everything she knew and completely redesigned the container she worked in. She stepped away from the hospital and opened her own private practice, literally changing the boundaries and the rules of her day-to-day life without changing her ultimate life's work. You know how so many businesses kind of lose their soul the second they start chasing revenue? Dr. Spencer refused to let that happen. She built her new container around one core principle. We got to remember why we are doing this. It is a service business, not just a clinic. By reframing her medical practice as a service business, she recentered the entire operation on the human experience rather than just churning out administrative output. So, let's jump into the exact framework she used to design this new model, the 3 C's framework, which is all about building your non-negotiables. Here's the actual blueprint that made her not just a better doctor, but a brilliantly effective business owner. Competency, customer service, and compassion. The 3 C's. When all the noise of traditional industry models fades away, these are the 3 pillars she chose to stand on. Let's break them down one by one to see how they actually function in the real world. First step, competency. Now, you might be thinking, well, yeah, obviously a doctor needs to be competent. But her definition goes a step further. It wasn't just about knowing her craft deeply. It was about finally building an environment that actually allowed her to use it. In the old rushed hospital system, her full competency was stifled by time constraints. And honestly, that's a feeling so many of us can relate to. Being deeply capable but feeling trapped in a system that won't let you do your best work. In her new container, she finally had the space to execute her skills at the highest possible level. Pillar number 2 is customer service. In medicine, this gets completely overlooked for the sake of clinical efficiency. But for Dr. Spencer, it meant ensuring her patients knew they weren't just numbers on a chart. It's all about the patient experience, you know? They needed to be treated as people who deserved to deeply feel the care they received from the exact moment they walked through the door. And the 3rd C is compassion. This is the bedrock. It's the underlying reason behind the whole shebang. When those 14-hour days kick in and the management of a business gets incredibly tough, compassion is what actually makes the exhausting work worth doing. It's the anchor that keeps the practice from drifting right back into that highly quantitative, volume-heavy model she fought so hard to escape. So by firmly establishing those 3 C's, she achieved incredible clarity. And that brings us to a really powerful realization. Clarity is actually a formidable business strategy. When your values are that crystal clear, every single operational decision becomes infinitely easier. Who you serve,
how you set your pricing, where you spend your energy, and, maybe most importantly, what you say a big, fat no to. It proves that clarity itself is a massive strategic advantage, one that, frankly, many women in business and medicine are never taught to leverage.
All right, section 4, holding the mirror up. Let's pivot from her story and talk about what this actually means for you. Dr. Spencer's journey wasn't about getting a new skill set or going back to school to learn a different trade. No, it was a pure mindset move. The career move only happened after the mindset shift. You have to remember this. Whatever version of the hospital you are currently stuck inside, whatever industry standard is currently burning you out, the model is not fixed. It's a choice. Someone, somewhere, just made it up. And because someone made it up, someone can unmake it. And that someone can absolutely be you. So, I really want to hold the mirror up to you right now. Ask yourself, where in your life are you operating inside a system that simply doesn't serve you? Are you accepting a broken model just because, well, it's the accepted norm? Or maybe because no one ever tapped you on the shoulder and told you there were other ways to do it? Think about what your version of Dr. Spencer's pivot would look like. If you had the courage to design your own container today, what would your specific, non-negotiable 3 C's be? What are the absolute pillars you would refuse to compromise on if you were the one writing the rules? You don't have to have it all figured out right this second, but you do have to start questioning the model you're standing in. The system you're struggling in was likely never designed for you in the first place, which is exactly why you possess the right and the power to redesign it entirely. Look at your career, look at your day-to-day life, and ask yourself one last thing. Where are you still playing by rules you never even agreed to?